You might think he's just physically attracted, but there's a hidden language in how you move together, positions that speak louder than words. There are 4 that consistently make men go wild, not just because of sensation, but because they trigger an emotional and primal response he can't ignore. The first creates intimacy through eye contact, letting him feel truly seen. The second shifts the dynamic, letting him feel playful dominance while keeping the spark alive. The third is all about closeness, drawing him into a cocoon of trust and desire where every touch lingers. And the fourth, it's unexpected, a position that surprises his senses and keeps anticipation alive. Mastering these isn't about technique alone, it's about reading the room, understanding his reactions, and creating moments he'll remember long after the lights go out. When done right, he won't just enjoy it, he'll crave it. Understanding emotional and physical impact is one of the most important keys to creating deep attraction in a relationship. When we talk about intimacy, many people immediately think only about the physical sensations involved, the obvious, surface-level pleasure. But in reality, true attraction, the kind that keeps a man hooked and coming back for more, doesn't exist without the emotional component. Physical closeness alone can spark desire, but when paired with emotional engagement, it becomes almost magnetic. Think about in a position that allows him to feel desired, to feel admired, to feel like he's the center of your attention, triggers a cascade of psychological responses that go far beyond the purely physical. Men, like women, respond to feeling emotionally significant in moments of intimacy. When a man feels seen, appreciated, and connected during these moments, it changes everything. A simple shift in how you position yourself can amplify this effect exponentially. The impact starts with awareness. Understanding the emotional and physical impact means recognizing that every position, every touch, every glance communicates something deeper than words. When you lean in, when your bodies align in ways that promote closeness, it communicates safety, attention, and even admiration. The physical act becomes a language in itself, a way of telling him, I see you, I want you, you matter. And this isn't manipulation, it's about mastering connection. It's about understanding that desire isn't just born from arousal, it's born from the feeling of being fully recognized and emotionally valued. Consider the difference between positions that feel distant versus those that feel connected. Positions that allow physical closeness, like chest-to-chest contact, not only enhance arousal, but also promote emotional engagement. Your heartbeat, your breathing, the subtle pressure of your hands or arms, all of these convey reassurance and attraction. He's not just enjoying the moment, he's absorbing the feeling that he's wanted, and that he matters to you in a deeply human, emotional way. In these moments, your energy is just as important as your physical presence. Being present, truly tuned into his reactions, amplifies the impact tenfold. It's also essential to understand that the emotional effect doesn't just stay in the bedroom, it spills into the entire relationship. When a man experiences a combination of physical pleasure and emotional validation in intimate moments, he begins to associate you with feelings of excitement, safety, and fulfillment. These positions become more than just a method of intimacy. They become a memory, a feeling, a connection he subconsciously craves. He starts to anticipate those moments, and that anticipation strengthens attachment. You're not just engaging his body, you're engaging his mind and emotion simultaneously. Understanding emotional and physical impact requires paying attention to subtleties that many overlook. It's not just about choosing a position because it looks sexy or seems physically stimulating. It's about how that position allows for interaction. Can he see your face? Can he feel your hand resting gently on him? Does it give space for whispered words or subtle touches? Positions that facilitate these forms of connection create a sense of closeness that is psychologically rewarding. In other words, it's not only about what feels good in the moment, it's about what lingers afterward. The memory of a position where he felt truly seen, where he felt desired in a holistic way, will stick far longer than one where there was mere physical satisfaction. This is why some positions, even if they seem simple, can be profoundly effective. A seemingly small adjustment, a shift in angle, leaning closer, holding his gaze, can completely transform the experience. These adjustments are not just aesthetic, they serve a deeper purpose, they create a powerful emotional imprint. Men may not always articulate it, but they notice it on a subconscious level. They sense when a woman is fully present, fully engaged, and emotionally available in the moment. This awareness is what transforms ordinary physical interactions into something unforgettable. Another critical aspect is the balance between vulnerability and confidence. Positions that allow him to feel strong and capable while you demonstrate trust and openness create a dynamic that excites men emotionally. When a man senses that he has your trust, when he feels that your physical and emotional openness is a gift rather than a demand, he experiences a rush of protective and rewarding emotions. That rush is the emotional impact we're talking about. It's a psychological reaction that complements physical pleasure, enhancing desire and connection in a way that simple physicality alone cannot achieve. The essence of this keynote is that emotional and physical impact cannot be separated if the goal is to cultivate deep, memorable attraction. Men respond to a combination of touch, energy, attention, and presence. Understanding this allows you to intentionally choose positions, movements, and interactions that amplify his desire while simultaneously deepening his emotional attachment. When done with awareness, intimacy becomes a tool for connection, communication, and even subtle influence, not manipulation, but a natural, mutually beneficial response to the energy you bring into the moment. This means paying attention to how he reacts, tuning into his breathing, noticing when he leans in or relaxes, and adjusting accordingly. Every movement becomes a conversation, every glance a form of communication. This heightened awareness is what separates fleeting physical encounters from unforgettable experiences. It's the difference between a man who enjoys being with you in the moment and a man who genuinely remembers, cherishes, and is drawn back to you repeatedly. In short, understanding emotional and physical impact is about seeing intimacy as more than mechanics. It's about creating moments that resonate deeply, physically and emotionally. Every position, touch, and gesture has the potential to influence his feelings profoundly. By combining physical closeness with emotional presence, you create a magnetic, almost irresistible attraction. When a man experiences that kind of connection, he doesn't just feel desire, he feels a bond, a sense of being truly seen and valued, and a longing to be near you again and again. That is the true power of emotional and physical impact in intimacy. Desire is more than just a physical reaction, it's a psychological phenomenon that blends anticipation, curiosity, and emotional engagement with physical stimulation. Understanding the psychology of desire is one of the most powerful tools in creating attraction that feels effortless yet irresistible. Men in particular are wired to respond not only to visual or physical cues, but to patterns, surprises, and the energy that a partner brings into the interaction. This is why certain positions trigger an almost automatic response. They tap into layers of desire that go beyond mere touch. It's about novelty, intensity, and the emotional narrative that each interaction carries. When you grasp the psychology behind this, intimacy becomes not just an act, but an experience that lingers in his mind long after the moment has passed. At its core, desire is built on anticipation. Men experience a heightened sense of excitement when they feel that there's something to uncover, something new to experience, or a subtle unpredictability in the connection. This is why certain positions become more effective than others, not merely because of physical sensation, but because they create a sense of intrigue. A position that feels slightly unfamiliar or that shifts the dynamic in an unexpected way makes him pay attention, mentally and physically. It triggers the brain's reward system, which floods him with dopamine, the chemical of pleasure, excitement, and motivation. That is the same response that makes people crave novelty, reinforcing the attraction over and over again. Intensity is another key factor. Men are not just drawn to physical touch. They are drawn to intensity, to moments that feel charged, that awaken energy and focus. When a position amplifies closeness, allows for engagement of senses, or creates a playful push and pull dynamic, it triggers psychological responses that go beyond mere pleasure. It's about being fully present, fully engaged, and fully expressive in the interaction. Intensity doesn't have to mean extreme or aggressive. It can be subtle, almost imperceptible shifts in energy, touch, or positioning that make the moment feel heightened. Men sense this on a subconscious level, and it makes him feel as though every fiber of his being is attuned to the connection. The psychology of desire also relies heavily on balance between predictability and surprise. Routine can feel safe, but too much routine can also dull desire. Men respond strongly when there's a mix of familiarity and novelty. Familiarity provides comfort, a sense that he knows what to expect and feels confident in the interaction. Novelty keeps the brain alert, engaged, and eager. This is why specific positions, even if they seem simple, can have an outsized impact when used intentionally. A subtle variation, a slight change in angle, or a playful row reversal can reignite desire in ways that seem effortless. Understanding this principle allows you to strategically create moments that feel spontaneous yet intentional, keeping the excitement alive without forcing it. it's also essential to consider the emotional layer that accompanies physical positions. Desire is not just a mechanical reaction, it's deeply intertwined with emotion. Positions that allow for connection, eye contact, whispered words, or playful touch stimulate emotional circuits in the brain that reinforce attraction. Men respond to cues of admiration, attention, and engagement in ways that amplify desire. When he senses that you are genuinely present and responsive, it triggers a psychological loop. The combination of physical pleasure and emotional resonance makes him crave more. He begins to anticipate the next moment, the next touch, the next glance, creating a cycle of desire that feeds itself. Another important element in the psychology of desire is the interplay of power and control. Men often respond intensely to positions that allow for a sense of leadership or influence, paired with subtle signals of trust and openness from their partner. This is not about dominance for its own sake. It's about creating a dynamic that stimulates both physical and mental engagement. When he feels he has your trust, when he senses that the energy is mutual yet allows him to take initiative, it activates feelings of competence, protectiveness, and satisfaction. That mental stimulation combined with physical pleasure makes desire more than fleeting. It becomes memorable, magnetic, and repeated over time. Desire also thrives on subtlety and anticipation rather than overt intensity alone. Men are often most drawn to cues that feel natural yet intentional. A gaze, a shift of weight, a gentle hand on the shoulder, or a whisper during a particular position signals focus and interest without being forced or overwhelming. This combination of subtlety and intent feeds his curiosity and heightens his anticipation. He's not just physically aroused, he's psychologically invested, eager to see how each moment unfolds, and emotionally tuned in. This psychological engagement is the foundation for desire that is long-lasting and deeply compelling. Understanding the psychology of desire means recognizing that men often interpret physical actions as signals of emotional availability and interest. When you use positions that create closeness, engagement, and even a touch of playful unpredictability, you are sending multiple layers of signals simultaneously. Physically, he experiences pleasure. Emotionally, he feels valued and wanted. Mentally, he is intrigued and stimulated. These layers combine to create an irresistible pull, one that keeps him not only interested in the moment, but invested in the connection as a whole. Mastering this psychology involves observation, attentiveness, and adaptability. It's about noticing how he responds to certain movements, touches, and interactions, and then using that information to refine your approach. The positions themselves are important, but the underlying principle is creating an experience that resonates on multiple levels. Desire is cultivated when physical stimulation, emotional engagement, and mental intrigue converge. When you understand and apply these principles, you are no longer relying on chance or mere attraction. You are intentionally creating moments that trigger desire, build connection, and leave a lasting impression. The psychology of desire teaches that attraction is never one-dimensional. Men are drawn not just by what they see or feel in a physical sense, but by what they experience emotionally and mentally during those moments. When you integrate novelty, intensity, anticipation, and emotional resonance into intimate interactions, desire becomes a powerful, almost unstoppable force. It is this understanding that allows you to create intimacy that is magnetic, memorable, and deeply compelling, leaving him thinking about you long after the moment ends. Body language and control are often underestimated in their ability to create attraction and desire. Many people think that intimacy is solely about technique or physical touch, but in reality, the way you carry yourself, move, and interact in these moments communicates more than words ever could. Men are highly attuned to these subtle cues, often on a subconscious level, and they respond strongly to the dynamics created by body language. Positions that involve slight shifts in power, who's leading, who's following, who's guiding the moment, create a tension that is exciting, magnetic, and unforgettable. When a man senses that there's a balance between confidence and responsiveness, it triggers desire in ways that simple physical pleasure cannot. Understanding this dynamic allows you to influence attraction in a natural, effortless way. Control in this context does not mean dominance in an aggressive or forceful sense. Instead, it's about the energy you bring into the interaction, the subtle cues of confidence, self-assuredness, and presence. A position that allows you to lead or subtly direct the flow of intimacy communicates that you are comfortable with your body and your sexuality. Men are drawn to women who carry themselves with confidence, not arrogance, and positions that give you agency allow that confidence to shine. At the same time, allowing him moments of leadership or influence creates a playful balance that keeps his attention fully engaged. It's the dance between giving and receiving control that excites the mind and heightens attraction. Body language itself is a language of its own. The way you position your hands, tilt your head, or maintain eye contact sends clear messages about desire, interest, and engagement. For instance, leaning in during a close position communicates interest and intimacy, while a gentle touch on his arm or chest signals connection and reassurance. These small actions reinforce physical pleasure with emotional and psychological cues. Men unconsciously pick up on these signals, and the combination of physical closeness and body language creates a powerful feedback loop. He responds to your cues, which in turn guides his actions, creating a moment where both emotional and physical energies are in harmony. Control also involves timing and pacing. Men respond intensely to interactions that feel purposeful rather than rushed. When you vary the rhythm of your movements or subtly change the dynamics of a position, it creates anticipation and excitement. For example, a pause during eye contact or a moment of playful teasing communicates self-assurance and draws his attention in. These small shifts make the interaction more engaging and prevent it from feeling predictable. Predictability can dull desire, but positions that incorporate subtle changes in control or energy maintain intensity and focus. By understanding how to modulate these shifts, you can create intimacy that feels alive, dynamic, and irresistible. The psychological effect of control also ties directly to emotional impact. Men are wired to respond to confidence because it signals security, comfort, and clarity in the moment. When a woman carries herself with composure, guides the interaction with subtlety, and communicates interest through body language, it creates a sense of safety and trust. He can relax, be present, and allow himself to feel desire fully. Positions that facilitate these dynamics, ones that allow you to lean in, pull back, guide the interaction, or invite him to take the lead, are powerful because they engage both his mind and body. He isn't just experiencing physical pleasure, he's emotionally invested and mentally engaged. Eye contact plays a critical role in this. Positions that allow for direct gaze communication deepen the sense of connection and heighten attraction. When a man sees your eyes locked on his, it sends a subconscious signal of focus, attention, and desire. Combined with confident body language and subtle shifts in control, this creates a magnetic pull that is hard to resist. He begins to associate physical closeness with emotional intimacy, which reinforces desire. Positions that maximize the opportunity for eye contact, gentle touches, or synchronized movement create a feedback loop that strengthens his engagement at multiple levels. Another important aspect is the idea of tension and release. Men respond to dynamics where control and surrender are balanced, where there's a playful push and pull. A position where you momentarily take the lead, then allow him to respond builds anticipation and excitement. It's not about who is in charge, in a literal sense. It's about creating energy that feels dynamic, alive, and stimulating. The tension created by these subtle shifts engages his brain and body simultaneously, enhancing desire and making the experience far more memorable. It's also worth noting that men are highly sensitive to authenticity. Body language and control are most effective when they feel natural. Overly staged movements or forced dominance can feel off-putting, while subtle, confident guidance comes across as genuine and attractive. When you embody confidence, use positioning intentionally, and maintain awareness of his responses, you create an environment where both partners feel engaged, safe, and stimulated. This is what transforms ordinary intimacy into moments of deep connection and lasting desire. Body language and control are not about manipulation. They are about communication. They are a way of expressing confidence, desire, and attentiveness without saying a word. Positions that integrate these elements, allowing you to guide the interaction, respond to his energy, and maintain subtle leadership, create a powerful psychological effect. Men respond to this naturally because it's their instinctual desire for connection, excitement, and emotional engagement. When done correctly, the combination of physical pleasure, confident body language, and dynamic control leaves a lasting impression, ensuring that desire is not fleeting but sustained. Mastering these principles requires awareness, observation, and subtlety. By paying attention to how your body communicates, how shifts in control affect his reactions, and how positioning can enhance both physical and emotional connection, you create intimacy that feels effortless yet unforgettable. The interplay of body language and control is the hidden language of attraction, and when you use it consciously, you don't just drive desire, you build a connection that he cannot forget, one that draws him back repeatedly, eager for the next moment of shared energy, attention, and closeness. Connection through intimacy is one of the most overlooked yet powerful elements in creating lasting desire and attraction. Many people assume that physical closeness alone is enough to make someone feel drawn to them. But the truth is that true intimacy is about more than the body. It's about aligning emotional, mental, and physical energies simultaneously. Men, like women, are deeply affected by moments where they feel understood, appreciated, and connected, and the positions you choose in intimate situations can amplify or hinder this sense of connection. When executed with intention, positions that facilitate closeness and allow for meaningful interaction create a bridge between physical pleasure and emotional fulfillment, making him feel fully engaged, seen, and valued in a way that goes far beyond the immediate moment. One of the key aspects of creating connection through intimacy is physical closeness that fosters engagement. Positions that allow the bodies to align naturally, creating warmth, pressure, or synchronized movement, send a signal that you are present, attentive, and connected. It's not just about contact for the sake of arousal, it's about contact that communicates emotional availability and trust. For example, positions where you can hold his hand, rest your head on his chest, or maintain chest-to-chest contact allow both partners to feel each other's rhythm, the rise and fall of breath, the beating of a heart, the subtle energy that passes through touch. This creates a sense of unity, a feeling of os, that triggers deeper emotional responses, making him not only physically attracted, but emotionally invested. Eye contact is another crucial factor. Positions that allow the couple to maintain eye contact facilitate a sense of emotional intimacy that is incredibly powerful. When he sees your eyes focused on him, he experiences a subtle but profound feeling of being acknowledged and valued. This triggers oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which deepens the emotional connection and makes physical closeness feel more meaningful. Eye contact combined with gentle smiles, subtle gestures, or whispered words strengthens the sense of connection and makes the moment far more memorable. Men remember these interactions not only for the pleasure they create, but for the emotional resonance they carry. Intimacy is also enhanced when there is an opportunity for verbal or non-verbal communication during the moment. Positions that allow for whispered words, shared laughter, or playful teasing create a dynamic that combines desire with emotional engagement. It's not simply about sensation, it's about creating a shared experience that connects both partners on multiple levels. Subtle touches on the back, face, or arms while maintaining a soft voice or gentle gaze reinforce the idea that intimacy is as much about emotional closeness as it is about physical pleasure. Men are particularly responsive to these cues because they satisfy a psychological need for validation and connection alongside physical stimulation. The concept of trust is central to connection through intimacy. Positions that allow you to be vulnerable, while simultaneously signaling confidence, create a profound sense of safety and openness. When a man feels trusted and sees that you are willingly sharing that vulnerability, it triggers a deep emotional response that strengthens attachment. This is why intimacy that prioritizes connection over mere technique has a longer lasting effect. He doesn't just remember the moment physically, he remembers the way it made him feel emotionally and mentally. Trust and vulnerability, when paired with closeness, turn ordinary physical encounters into experiences that are deeply memorable and compelling. Timing and attention to rhythm are also critical in fostering connection. Positions that allow for slow, deliberate movement, where both partners can respond to each other's cues, facilitate synchronization of energy. When movements are attuned to one another, it enhances the sense of partnership and mutual awareness. He feels like his actions are mirrored, appreciated, and reciprocated, which strengthens the emotional bond. This synchronization isn't just about pleasure, it's about creating an unspoken conversation through touch and motion, a dialogue that speaks directly to the subconscious and reinforces attraction. Another important element of connection through intimacy is the ability to balance closeness with space. While physical proximity is important, positions that allow brief moments of gentle withdrawal or shifting can heighten the sense of anticipation. Men respond strongly to this rhythm, the push and pull between closeness and slight distance. It keeps the interaction dynamic, stimulates curiosity, and reinforces desire while still maintaining emotional engagement. These subtle adjustments communicate thoughtfulness and awareness, signaling that you are fully present and responsive to his energy. Connection is further strengthened when physical touch is combined with emotional cues such as laughter, playful teasing, or whispered words of affirmation. These gestures may seem small, but they have a significant psychological effect. Men respond to emotional reinforcement alongside physical stimulation because it makes the experience multi-layered. The combination of physical closeness, emotional validation, and mental engagement creates a sense of fullness in the interaction. He begins to associate intimacy not just with pleasure, but with feeling understood, valued, and connected, which makes him more likely to return to those moments repeatedly. Connection through intimacy is about creating a shared memory that resonates beyond the immediate moment. Positions that maximize closeness, engagement, and interaction generate emotional imprints that last long after the physical interaction ends. Men remember the way it felt to be fully seen, fully desired, and fully connected. These experiences shape their perception of the relationship and increase both emotional investment and physical attraction. Understanding and applying this principle allows you to move beyond the superficial, creating intimacy that is powerful, memorable, and deeply compelling. Connection through intimacy is the bridge that links physical desire to emotional investment. Positions are not just tools for arousal, they are vehicles for communication, trust, and shared experience. By intentionally choosing positions that facilitate closeness, allow eye contact, encourage touch, and balance trust with vulnerability, you create moments that resonate on multiple levels. Men are drawn to this multi-layered intimacy because it satisfies both physical and emotional needs, creating desire that is magnetic, sustainable, and unforgettable. When applied consciously, connection through intimacy ensures that every moment of closeness is not only physically stimulating, but emotionally transformative, leaving him craving more than just the physical. It leaves him craving you. Consistency versus surprise is one of the most powerful dynamics in maintaining attraction and deepening desire in a relationship. Many people make the mistake of thinking that keeping intimacy exciting means constantly changing things or doing something dramatic, but the truth is far subtler and far more effective. Desire is built on a delicate balance between what feels familiar and safe and what feels novel and stimulating. Men crave both stability and unpredictability. Stability because it creates trust and emotional security, and unpredictability because it sparks curiosity, excitement, and heightened attention. Understanding how to navigate this balance allows you to cultivate moments that feel effortless yet leave a lasting impression, ensuring that he remains emotionally and physically engaged over time. Consistency is crucial because humans are wired to respond to predictability in positive contexts. When a man knows that certain behaviors, touches, or positions consistently lead to pleasure and emotional connection, he feels secure in the interaction. This doesn't mean everything should be rigid or routine. It means creating patterns that he can recognize and rely on. For example, positions that always allow eye contact, gentle physical closeness, or playful interaction provide a sense of safety and assurance. He knows that these moments are enjoyable and emotionally rewarding, which builds trust and reinforces attachment. Consistency reassures him that he can relax, be himself, and immerse fully in the experience without uncertainty, and that security enhances desire in a subtle, profound way. On the other hand, surprise is equally vital in maintaining desire. Men are wired to respond to novelty. It stimulates the brain's reward system, triggers dopamine, and amplifies excitement. A surprising twist in an intimate moment, whether it's a subtle shift in a position, an unexpected touch, or a playful change in rhythm, creates a spike of attention and curiosity. When used thoughtfully, surprise prevents moments from feeling mundane or predictable, keeping the energy dynamic and exciting. The key is to integrate these surprises seamlessly with the familiarity he already enjoys. When he recognizes elements of consistency alongside subtle surprises, the experience becomes psychologically irresistible. He feels secure yet stimulated, engaged yet intrigued, and his desire is continually reinforced. The balance between consistency and surprise also extends to emotional cues and energy. Men respond to predictability in emotional reactions, the reassurance that his attention and affection will be met with warmth, appreciation, or playful engagement. At the same time, subtle emotional surprises, like an unexpected compliment, a whispered playful comment, or a spontaneous laugh, enhance his engagement and make him feel that he's experiencing something uniquely special. Emotional predictability, combined with occasional playful unpredictability, keeps him invested not only physically, but psychologically. He begins to anticipate moments with excitement, because he doesn't know exactly what to expect, yet he trusts that the interaction will be pleasurable and rewarding. Another element of this principle is timing. Consistency in when and how you engage in intimacy helps build expectation and rhythm, which enhances desire. If a man knows that certain positions, touches, or interactions consistently lead to shared pleasure, he becomes more confident and present during those moments. Then, the introduction of surprise at strategic moments, like a sudden shift in angle, playful teasing, or a new position, heightens the intensity because it breaks the rhythm just enough to stimulate his attention and interest. Men respond strongly to this push and pull between the expected and the unexpected, creating a dynamic where their mind and body remain fully engaged. Surprise doesn't have to be dramatic to be effective. It can be subtle, just enough to create curiosity or anticipation. Small variations in positioning, timing, or energy can make a profound impact on desire. For example, holding a position slightly longer than expected, leaning in for an extra second during eye contact, or incorporating a playful whisper or touch can elevate the moment. These variations are effective because they interrupt predictability without breaking the underlying sense of safety and emotional connection. Men respond intensely to these tiny, unexpected details because they feel attentive and alive, noticing nuances that reinforce attraction. When paired with surprise, creates a psychological loop that strengthens attachment. The brain begins to associate intimacy with both reliability and excitement, forming a bond that is hard to replicate elsewhere. Men start to anticipate not just the physical pleasure, but the emotional and psychological interplay, creating deeper engagement over time. The more consistently pleasurable the interaction, and the more thoughtfully surprising the variations are, the more invested he becomes. This principle explains why relationships that feel dynamic and magnetic often involve a balance of familiar routines and occasional spontaneity. Too much consistency can feel boring, and too much unpredictability can feel chaotic. Mastering this balance requires awareness, observation, and responsiveness. It's about noticing how he reacts to patterns, which aspects of interaction he enjoys most, and where subtle novelty can elevate desire. The goal is not to manipulate, but to consciously craft experiences that maximize connection and psychological engagement. By understanding how consistency builds trust and safety, and how surprise sparks excitement and anticipation, you create a rhythm that keeps desire alive without effort. Men are drawn to women who can embody both stability and spontaneity because it engages their mind, heart, and body simultaneously. The interplay between consistency and surprise is about creating experiences that feel balanced, meaningful, and unforgettable. It ensures that intimacy is not static or repetitive, but dynamic, engaging, and full of anticipation. When men experience this combination, they are not only physically drawn, but emotionally and psychologically invested. They remember the moments, crave the next interaction, and feel a magnetic pull that deepens attachment over time. Understanding this principle allows you to cultivate attraction that is sustainable, compelling, and deeply resonant. It's the art of keeping desire alive while creating an enduring sense of connection, ensuring that every moment of intimacy is both satisfying and unforgettable. Creating attraction and desire isn't about a single trick, a perfect position, or a moment of physical connection alone. It's about the complete experience you craft. It's the emotional and physical impact that makes him feel truly seen, the psychology of desire that keeps his mind and body engaged, the subtle play of body language and control that excites him on a deeper level, the connection through intimacy that binds pleasure with emotional resonance, and the balance between consistency and surprise that keeps every moment alive and unpredictable. When all of these elements come together, you create something far more than physical pleasure. You create an experience that lingers in his mind, fuels his anticipation, and strengthens his emotional investment. This is the secret of irresistible attraction. It's not just about what you do, but how you make him feel desired, valued, and completely captivated every single time.